Welcome everyone to the Hurting Humanity channel. Every year when the Super Bowl is upon us, I cover the commercials and the agendas behind the commercials. And even sometimes videos I'll make like this, where we have someone like Cher, who is bringing humor and of course deflection to witches being burned at the stake, and even deflecting off the fact that Cher itself has admitted to being a witch and using witchcraft. Of course, we are surrounded by witchcraft. If you haven't paid attention, the words magic are a normal thing that people use in their day-to-day life. People will compare feelings they have for somebody else to magic. Ooh, a magical feeling, a magical this, the magic kingdom. We've been indoctrinated with magic since we were young. Every single Disney movie, the theme around it is magic, and that's all done by design. Yet people don't even notice that these witches and these Satanists actually exist in our society, because they're actually the ones who are spell casting on everyone. So when they bring attention to this stuff and humor, what it does is it just makes more and more people think that witch trials and burning witches at the stake are, oh, it's a big joke. Oh, it's a crazy time period where, even in this commercial that I'll show you from Uber Eats, where they make the people look like completely insane lunatics, the type of people who would burn witches at the stake, but they never talk about why witches were actually burnt at the stake, and the fact that witches actually did exist. And the reason that people were burning them at the stake was because of the things that they were caught doing. You see, instead they like to use humor and make you think that it was just a bunch of crazy people who were doing it to innocent people, and people back then were just completely insane, right? But you look around us in today's world, we have people who are completely insane, and people who are completely insane in our society are actually promoted and put on a pedestal and told that they're wonderful and special. The entire world is actually more insane now than it was in the 1600s. But of course, they want you to think that this notion of witches existing is all insane. But these people admit to being witches. So they use humor right in front of you, while I'll show you Cher's connection to being an actual witch right now in this video. Of course, the notion they try to use here with Cher is, well, Cher is timeless. Cher can turn back time, right? The fact that Cher looks the same at 29 that Cher does at 73 years old, right? And Cher will tell you the secret right here in an interview that she did years ago.
We met up here with Cher's mother, 87-year-old Georgia Holt.
Very sweet.
And you guys look amazing. I don't know what you're doing, but...
Witchcraft.
Yes.
Of course, I slipped the tongue when I said she did years ago, which I'll get into later in the video. But that's the notion of all of this with Cher. They can use humor and say that Cher is ageless, but they don't say why Cher looks ageless, why Cher doesn't have wrinkles. And of course, we know that red sauce is a lot to do with it. Cher's mother as well was somebody who aged pretty good. And there's quotes out there where Cher would say things like, would have taken a few of mom's little wrinkles. She thinks it's magic. That magic is the reason that she looks timeless, right? And I don't know if I'd say she looks timeless. I'd say it looks a little bit more like a punching bag, but you know what I mean? It looks a little rough around the edges. But let me show you this commercial from Uber Eats, where Cher goes back in time, and of course goes way too far back in time, to a time where people were accusing others of being witches. And of course, they want you to think this is all because people were just picking on women or picking on people that didn't look the same. These are all things they've integrated in our society. But the fact of the matter was, people were way more sane back then. And when they saw people performing witchcraft, which involved spell casting and involved a certain red liquid, involved children, well, they weren't putting up with it back then. Like now, it's pretty opposite. We're actually embracing it. We're actually celebrating the people who perform it. And they're the millionaires and billionaires and the people in our Congress who run our great, great country, or I should say, Mystery Babylon. Here's the commercial.
If I could turn back, take me back to the 80s. Who are you? This isn't the 80s.
Tis the 1680s.
Yeah, she's both young and old at the same time. Witch! She's a witch!
She's a witch!
I'm not a witch, I'm an icon.
Witch!
Are those my boots?
Witch!
is ridiculous.
So that's truth in plain sight. And I'll show you how it's truth in plain sight. I'll show you how making jokes about things like that just make people think that there was a time where people were crazy and they were going after women, and they were going after people who didn't look the same as everyone else. But that, again, is not the truth of the matter. And again, by using humor like that, it makes people who are witches into victims. You may remember some of the videos I've done over the years talking about how they wanted to pardon women who were accused of being witches in other time periods. I covered a lot of those ancestry shows, which the videos are all available on the website, where celebrities were coming out and they were connected to the witch trials, and oh, their grandmother was burned alive as a witch, and they start crying and oh, it's not fair, it wasn't right, they were falsely accused, because they want you to think that witchcraft isn't real. Yet we're surrounded by it. Yet we have people like Cher talking about witchcraft, right? But we're supposed to believe they're joking, right? Just like we're supposed to believe they're joking when we see pictures of Cher doing all of these signs and symbols, from devil horns to praising Egyptian gods and goddesses, right? Or wearing black and white Masonic checkerboard, outfits that she wears, or doing shows on those checkerboard. I mean, Cher is somebody who's surrounded by signs and symbols, just like every other celebrity out there, which proves their affiliation with the occult, right? Here's a picture of Cher where you can just see that Cher's got an ankh. She's got all these Egyptian symbols on her, even has the all-seeing eye right there up at the top of its chest, right? And that's because Cher loves the Egyptian goddesses, right? Here's Cher dressed up many times over the years. If you even just do a simple Google search, you'll see Cher dressed up as Isis. For anyone that doesn't know, the Egyptian goddess Isis was the wife of Osiris and the mother of Horus. You know, Horus, who is known for that all-seeing eye symbol that you always see them do and hold up. That's Horus's eye, right? The eye of providence, the all-seeing eye of Lucifer. And of course, Osiris, if Isis is the wife of Osiris, well, Osiris is the Egyptian god that you see with its arms folded across its chest. Many believe Osiris, the Antichrist, and the symbol of Osiris is, in fact, the X that is used. You know, the same X that Cher is using in this picture. What was Cher doing? She was a little cold. She wanted to wrap her arms around her chest in a studio shoot, right? Somebody had the air condition turned up, right? No. Is that what's happening here in this Freemasonic lodge? Where all of these grown men, these are men of industry, men in your town who pretend that they are Christian and show up at your church. Here they are, all performing this ritual, holding their arms crossed over their chest. And I broke this symbol down again on the website, but here's just a couple pictures of the X, right? Why they're so obsessed with X. Not to forget about Elon Musk naming Twitter X and the coming mark of the beast. We have Madonna with the X over its eye. People like Stephen King, who are well-documented Satanists. You don't have to do much research to see what Stephen King is involved in, right? All these celebrities taking pictures with their arms folded across their chest, but they don't expect you to notice these things. They don't expect you to notice someone like Ashton Kutcher doing an X over his chest when he's out in public wearing Freemason hats, or people like maybe Taylor Swift laying in a bathtub, folding its hands across its chest, making an X, or even Miley Cyrus the Virus, folding its hands across its chest in a bathtub. They don't expect you to notice these signs and symbols, which reveal who they are. So you have Cher doing the dressing as Isis, and of course doing the Antichrist symbolism with Osiris. And then many times during concerts, you see this, right? You see Cher with all these arms doing devil horns behind it. And nobody thinks anything of it. They're like, cool, neat, right? This isn't artistic. Of course, this is paying homage to the deity or demon known as Kali. And you can see Kali depicted here with all the arms. Kali is a Hindu goddess, so to speak, who represents time, death, and destruction. Also creation and rebirth. And that's, of course, what's going on here. They're trying to destroy and recreate. You see Beyonce many times doing this symbolism with all these arms behind it, right? Nobody thinks anything of it, do they? Look at Beyonce. What, does she love arms? Every time she walks down the street and sees people's arms, she pulls on their arms. I love your arms. Your arms look great. I love when people wave their arms behind me, right? Here's just multiple photos. I mean, a performance after performance after performance, where Beyonce just has arms all around her, arms even wrapped around its clothing. We've seen Rihanna doing this symbolism multiple times as well. We've seen Shakira doing this symbolism. So are they paying homage to Cher? Did somebody just come up with this idea? Is she paying homage to Beyonce? Is Beyonce paying homage to Rihanna? Oh, of course, they don't expect you to see the repetition in the pattern of who they actually are. These witches reveal themselves every day to us by their actions, by their signs, and their symbols. They don't expect you to notice it. Then they come out and they do commercials for Uber Eats where what do? They deflect. They make it humorous about, people were burned at the stake hundreds of years ago. That was so wrong. They were wrongly accused of being a witch. Well, first of all, are witches real? Do they exist? Oh, then they tell us that they don't exist. Then why is every movie about a witch, right? Why is everything always about magic? Why are these things normal in our day-to-day lives? Why are all these movies and cartoons and shows that are geared towards kids as gateways into the occult all about magic, right? Oh, it's a conspiracy, isn't it? And the people who are burning them alive hundreds of years ago, they're in the wrong, right? Never given an explanation as to why those people were hunting witches. They didn't like the smell of sulfur? Was it because the witches had armpit hair? What? What was the reasoning behind it? Oh, probably they weren't burning someone at the stake because they didn't like how they dressed or looked. The reason was probably because what they were doing. And what they were doing, performing witchcraft, well, it was involving a lot of things that they shouldn't be doing to energy harvest and bring about this black magic that was being performed. It has a lot to do with sacrifice, doesn't it? Right? Cher knows everything about that. So as we go on, we can even see Cher wearing the Baphomet crown on its head. This is another very common theme from Lady Gaga to Beyonce. They always have this on, this crown, right? Madonna. Nobody says anything. Hey, how come they're wearing this crown that looks like, what are they, like Rams? They got money invested in the Los Angeles Rams? What's the deal here? Do they like to go into the mountains and watch rams or goats stand on the side? I know, oh, right. They don't give you a reason for it. They just do this in front of you and expect us to think that this is art, right? Of course, this is all about the Baphomet. For anyone that doesn't know, the Baphomet, okay, the god that has breasts and a wiener, right, is Baphomet's both genders. You see the agenda going on in our world today of what they're trying to normalize, how the occult, our government is trying to normalize this. The Baphomet is pretty much, right, a goat with breasts and a penis, which means it's genderless, right? It's oneness. And the Baphomet's all about inversion. If you haven't noticed, Hollywood and the music industry is all about inversion. If you haven't heard Cher, she'll even tell you herself, right? That, well, I don't need a man because I am a rich man. Multiple times in interviews that we're not supposed to be suspicious of. And even some of the video proof from this performance with Sonny Bono. Well, it's Sonny Ono. Take a look at this.
My mother said, Cher, when you get older, I wish you'd hurry and get older so that you would settle down and marry a rich man. And I said, Mom, I am a rich man. It's like I don't have to marry one.
The feeling's mutual. You said a man is not a necessity, a man is a luxury, like dessert.
Yeah. A man is absolutely not a necessity.
Did you mean that to sound mean and bitter?
Oh, not at all. I adore dessert. I love men. I think men are the coolest. But you don't really need them to live. My mom said to me, sweetheart, one day you should settle down and marry a rich man. And I said, Mom, I am a rich man.
Before deciding what to do. All the talk about those TV breaks and movies.
So I don't know, you tell me, is that coincidental? Do you go around doing interviews with people repeating that you're a rich man when you're actually a woman? How many of these celebrities have we seen do this, right? We've covered Megan Fox. We see a lot of these celebrities who talk about being born as men. And then you see the agenda being pushed on our society about men becoming women, women becoming men, all these genders, and eventually genderless. And you realize, well, that's what they worship. Are any of these people what they claim to actually be? Is Big Mike really Michelle? I mean, you could think for yourself and figure those out. But another thing to note as well is Cher being in the Witches of Eastwick. I mean, she's just got so many connections to being an actual witch that, well, I mean, you should just say guilty as charged, right? Witches of Eastwick, a movie with Susan Sarandon. Here's Susan Sarandon, if you didn't know, another witch, right? Susan Sarandon loves to put things up over its eye as well, holding a hand up over the eye, putting the hair over the eye, right? Is that a coincidence? You got Cher. Maybe it's for Cher, right? Susan Sarandon's doing this in these pictures playing peekaboo that have nothing to do with the movie that she's in with Cher, but Cher also dresses up like Isis, who happens to be the mother of Horus, who they pay homage to with that one eye symbolism. And then you get the other star of the movie, Michelle Pfeiffer, who decides, I'm going to be on the cover of Rolling Stone. Oh, here's your big shoot, Michelle. What do you want to do? I want to put all my hair over my eyes so I look like a completely insane person, right? Because that's cute. That's attractive, right? Of course not. This is what they do. They go in magazine shoots. They go on covers of magazines. They sit them in the grocery store. They don't expect you to notice because they think you're dumb. And when people do call it out, what do? Well, they terminate them off the internet. They call them crazy conspiracy theorists. They try to use humor to convince you that people like us are insane. Where the proof's in the pudding. How many pictures do you need to see? A picture's worth 1,000 words, is it not? Well, in this case, pictures are facts because you could see their affiliation with the occult. These people are dressing up as Egyptian gods and goddesses. The Freemasons, the secret societies use the same signs and symbols. And they do this stuff right in front of you. But again, they don't expect you to notice. So when they do a commercial where Cher is being burned at the stake, oh, we're all supposed to laugh, right? Because, wow, Cher's timeless. I mean, if you believe that Cher looks timeless, I don't know what to tell you. But there is a reason probably that Cher doesn't have as many wrinkles as somebody who doesn't drink red liquid that's also Cher's age, right? Because that's what witches do. And that's what a lot of these things about vampire facials are all about, right? They just want you to think it's a big joke. So Cher could do this right in front of your face, and you're supposed to just laugh and think that it's funny, and then the people, of course, are depicted in the commercial as being just complete buffoon. I don't even know how to describe the people in the commercial, right? Toothless, right? Barbarians, brain dead. They make them seem so stupid back then. What's funny about it is they make them seem like they're such idiots back in the 1600s. Yet, shut the power grid off tomorrow. Shut it off for a month. Yeah? How dumb would those people look versus how we are in today's society? We're in a brain dead society. People don't even know how to find water or food for themselves. Right? They have to go to McDonald's and they think that's how you get food. They're like, we go to McDonald's. That's how we get food. Oh, do you know how to grow food? I don't need to grow food. Oh, what about the power grids off? Oh, people back then are dumb and they're weird. They were burning witches at the stake. And look, they were toothless and they were all dirty all the time. Right? Meanwhile, you're bathing yourself in shampoo and ivory soap that's covered in chemicals every day. Then you're wondering why you're getting all sorts of skin diseases and other things under your skin, right? Not that I'm against bathing, and looking like the people in the commercial. But it's just incredible how they could depict people back then as being stupid, yet those people were able to find food, make food, take care of themselves, not be dependent on the government. And in today's world, all it'll take is a 1-month power shut off to see just how stupid people in today's reality really are. Well, witches are running around us, telling us they're witches, showing us all these signs and symbols that show that they are. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, you're all stupid. Everything's a big joke, right? To everybody in today's world, and everyone's a narcissist. Everyone thinks they know everything. Everyone thinks they're better than everyone else. Everyone wants to show you everything they're doing at all times, posting pictures of every meal, every event they attend on their Instagram or Twitter accounts or Facebook accounts, right? All right. Again, meanwhile, shut the grid off and watch how many people actually will probably go to the ocean and think that they could drink ocean water, right? That's what I want to do when the grid goes off. I want to go down to the ocean and I just want to watch with binoculars of how many young teens are just like, oh, we'll just drink out of the ocean, right? And go drink out of the ocean and lose their minds and die, right? From uncontrollable thirst, drinking seawater. You can't drink salt water. Do they know that? No, of course not. Why would they know anything that makes any sense? They don't know anything other than what the government feeds them and all this nonsense that's put out, this entertainment that's put out. So Cher burned at the stake for witchcraft and what they're calling a hilarious Uber Eats advertisement. Now, I didn't think it was hilarious at all because obviously I know exactly what they're trying to do. But these methods of mind control work. They've convinced society that witches don't exist. Even though people think about and have talked about witch hunts and witch trials, they still want you to think it's fiction, right? Because they don't want you to start thinking too much about, well, why were they doing it? What was the reasoning behind it? Oh, they were, it's the same with the West Memphis 3 and some of these other things they've done over these. Oh, they're wearing Metallica shirts. They must be, let's burn them. Let's crucify them. Let's go after them, right? They're different than everyone else. These are all mind control tactics that they've used. These demons hunt children. That's a fact of the matter. They are essential in the craft that they actually perform. And of course, they'll make it seem like, oh no, they even showed you a little tease in the commercial at the end with the thyme. And I'm not saying that, using that if in your food makes you a witch, but that's a big ingredient in witchcraft that Cher was using, pretending to be cooking with it, but had it stored in the bag along with other herbs, which, you know what I mean? They were hinting at the end of the commercial there that, she was using these herbs for spell casting because she is a witch. They're all witches, ladies and gentlemen. Witches do exist, as crazy as it sounds. Got to pull yourself out of the matrix and realize that these people, which aren't really people, these demons have been getting away with the things they're doing in our society, the destruction they're causing, the chaos, all by design, by spell casting on everyone out there, making you believe that they don't actually exist and they're not what they truly are. But those with eyes to see and ears to hear do know. We could see them, we could smell them, and we don't like them. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families, as always.